Waiting for the 130 update. Yeah, I'm waiting. I can't even sleep these days thinking about Europa Universalis 4. How bad I want to play that. You got me there. I'm done with Paradox. Now they want to keep balancing their games and making games that are everything, but that do everything but to stimulate the brain and instead test the patience. So I'm done. I tried to do what I could to change things. They don't give a shit. They think they're the best. No. For the next patch, they're gonna remove one thing that people didn't like, because for being so annoying, so making the game more tedious and repetitive, they're gonna make something like several orders of magnitude worse than that. So, no. So fuck them. Like, they don't learn. Like, they probably. It's just. I don't understand. It doesn't compute how these people are the same people that made the game like Hearts of Iron 3 or EU4 up until 2 years ago. It seems like they're different people. It seems like Paradox was sold and someone took over and it just doesn't get it, and it's just destroying the games. That's what they're doing. As far as I know, Paradox was not sold. They're the same people, so I don't understand. It doesn't compute. But I'm done trying to help. I'm preaching in the fucking desert. I try to help, and then I get labeled as a troll. So fuck them. Let them keep their shitty games and do whatever the fuck they want with their games. Next patch is just it's just it's just like the mechanics and the new anti-blob mechanics. The new straight jacket promotes, punishes people that are extremely skilled and promotes mediocrity. Like, you're a mediocre player, you won't notice it. You're really good, it's gonna be multiple times worse than by comparison with corruption from territories, to the point that you can't even declare war. If you're really good at the game, really good, you expand really fast, you're shortly after the year 1500 you won't be able to declare war. That's the new mechanic. That's really exciting and really stimulates my intelligence. So much so that fuck Paradox and their shitty balancing and shitty games. They used to be extremely good, but now they're just shit. Like I said, it seems like Paradox was bought by some company that wanted to destroy the games. That's what they're doing since 2016, guys. Shame no one can see it. So I must be crazy. I was saying this almost the same thing with regard to corruption from territories when it was announced. I criticized it heavily. I still had lots of goodwill in me because that was like 2 years ago. I didn't see the things that I've seen over the last 2 years. I still didn't see them, so I still had some goodwill in me. No, I don't. No, I'm done. Done working for free. I'm done making walls of text trying to explain why things are bad when they can't see. But they can only see what's in front of them. So I give up. Exactly. They're removing corruption from territories, but they're going to bring something that's multiple times worse than corruption from territories. If you're good. So it's like they punish skill with a massive straitjacket that's multiple times stronger by comparison with the other one. And you'll be in the situation where you can't do shit. The only thing that you can do, or the few things that you can do, is to exploit development. So we're talking about hundreds upon hundreds, if thousands of clicks until the end of the run. But even then, that's just a tiny bit of... That just does a tiny bit. It's very small for the speed of conquest that I can do. That's like a drop in the ocean. So I do hundreds of clicks, maybe thousands of clicks to exploit development, and I'll be stuck. Regardless, I'll still be stuck. I guess someone's jealous of, or someone's so mediocre that can't understand it, or it actually understands it and it just wants to balance the game for bad people. No, not bad people by being bad. It's like bad at the game. So balancing for mediocrity, for mediocre things. So when the player stops being mediocre, he's gonna get frustrated and he's gonna stop playing, or I don't know. So it's a balance with mediocrity in mind. It really promotes it, and it's something that doesn't compute. The Paradox games used to be smart games. It used to be intelligent. This sort of thing doesn't require much, it's something that doesn't require much time to come up with. It's just a massive straitjacket. There's no creativity there. It's just, let's just find a way to prevent the dude from declaring war. If I can prevent the dude from declaring war, he's certainly not gonna conquer the world by 1525. Even though no one else in the whole fucking world does it besides that dude and the other dude. Let's just spoil it for him. No, let's just spoil it for him and the other people that like to play wide, because then it's like I'm known for half a dozen people from expanding really fast. I'm like the gold standard with regard to fast expansion. Modesty apart, for that half a dozen people, and then it's everyone else almost as good or just as good, are like a couple of people in that region, and then everyone else, and everyone else to their, until they get to a player that's just as bad as the AI. Only those players won't notice it, because everyone else is going to notice a bit more or a bit less according to their skill and ability to expand, but they're all going to notice. And just like corruption from territories, probably it's not immediately apparent, and then it's just going to be another 2 years of something that's incredibly moronic brought into a game for no good reason whatsoever. Just, someone that just doesn't compute. The word that comes to mind instantly is just stupidity. I have to say it, because only if someone really stupid can come up with like corruption in 1.16, the way that it was introduced. 2 days later or so was patched because it was that bad. Fortunately, there was still some good sense back in the day. Not learning with that nonsense, in 1.26 they release Corruption from Territories. By the time 1.30 hits the shelves, it's gonna be like 2 years after the fact. People have been playing with that crap, and just after 2 years almost, is that people made enough noise for that thing to get removed. And not learning with what they did in 1.16 and 1.26, they're gonna make something that's worse than all those two combined, but even worse, like much worse. If it's a game where the game is to expand and conquer things, there's nothing else to do, that's gonna prevent the player from declaring war due to extremely high stability cost. I'm talking at the highest levels of skill. I'm not talking about the average Joe that's not mediocre, but it's not really good either. So, maybe that's not gonna happen to that person. But at highest level of skill, that's definitely gonna happen. So, in a game where expansion is the only thing that there is interesting to do, because there are no internal mechanics besides clicking a button to increase development, they're preventing people from declaring war. So, and then if you can't declare war, if you can't break truces, because the aggressive expansion also goes through the roof because of that change too, as if it needed more. Because when I play EU4, an example is my last run, the one that I tried to conquer the world by 1570. It's just a number. I discovered the dude, I conquered a few things, the dude is already at plus 1000 aggressive expansion. That can clearly be seen in that run. So having plus 500 aggressive expansion, I couldn't care less. 500%, I couldn't fucking care less. But I care with the fact that along with extra 50% aggressive expansion comes an extra 100% stability cost and minus 50%. But that's the most important thing. So if you go 10 times above the limit that they think it's your governing capacity, you're gonna have a plus 1000 stability cost, and that's extremely easy for a player like me to achieve. And then that's just, there's nothing to do. You can't declare war, so you're just conditioned to twiddle your thumbs and look at the map. That's supposed to be a game. That's supposed to not be testing the player patience, but instead it's supposed to be testing the intelligence of the player. But for me it isn't, I'm sorry. So they used to make intelligent games, not any longer. They just make, it's just silliness after silliness, which is mind-boggling. But it is what it is. So I can't do shit. If it was within my power to do something, that game would stimulate your brain. It would, if you wanted to win, you needed to be smart, and would not be tedious. But every single change they make goes towards making it more tedious and testing the player patience. Someone's definitely either doesn't understand the game or doesn't know the difference between challenge and tediousness. Thinks tedium equals challenge or something. It's just not, like I said, doesn't compute. So whatever. Like I said, fuck them. Maybe one day they will wake up. Maybe they won't. I just don't give a shit now. This comes from a person that made like I don't want to lie, but if the videos were all like 20 minutes videos, I would. This comes from a person that would have made like 6,000 videos about Paradox games over the last 6 years. I have on YouTube 3,500 because There's plenty of them of just 20 minutes and half an hour, but there's also ones of 20 hours and 15 hours. And so you see my point. I played their games to death. If you go watch the old recordings that I'm talking about before 2016, you will only hear praises from me. Because the games were that good. Now it's the opposite. They went in the opposite direction. So I'm done. I tried to help just in case, everyone's entitled to make mistakes. Just in case it was a mistake. But after Corruption from Territories, it was pretty darn clear that that's what they wanted to do. And the proof is right there. The next thing is going to be multiple times worse than Corruption from Territory was. So they're like, oh, but with Corruption from Territories, there's nothing you could do besides paying. Now there's more interactions. Yes, my friend, click an extra 5,000 clicks at least. Actually, click some extra 6,000 times. Between 5,000 and extra 5,000 and 7,000 times, somewhere along that. If you're gonna do a world conquest, you're gonna have to click between another 5,000 and 7,000 clicks to exploit development and build courthouses. Then on top of that, because you still won't be able to fight it. But this is talking about a medium skill player that waits until imperialism and so on to go, and absolutism to go conquer. On top of these that I've just told you, then you have to probably gonna fight wars where today dismantling the Ottomans probably requires some 6 or 7 wars. Be prepared to fight some 20 because there's nothing you can do about it. Because you're going to lose administrative efficiency. No matter what you do, you're going to lose administrative efficiency, which means dismantling blobs, it's going to take much longer. It's going to take many more wars, which means even more carpet sieging. Then they're adding more fucking forts. So if they teach the AI to use the new ramparts, what you're going to see is a pre 1.12 EU4 where every single province had a fort, and now imagine the AI building ramparts everywhere, every single province with a fort, a level 1 fort. The way that forts troll, the way that attrition works, disease outbreak and monsoons, all that those nice things. And you don't have mercenaries. You have some shitty mercenaries that you can't even split, which means that fort requires 3 dudes to siege, maybe 4, and the other one requires 6, maybe 7, depending if you want to speed it up or not. And then you have to put the 20 stack on top of each of a fort because you can't split the mercenaries. So you're down. You can't use mercenaries. But I digress. What I'm saying is that it's totally not gonna be tedious. It's gonna be top notch, totally stimulating, and never testing the player's patience. So I really look forward to playing 1.30. I don't even sleep. It's just to think that how eager I am to play that shit. Okay, looks like these guys will starve if I don't allow them to go grab that. Indeed. Okay, I need to mark these because if someone else asks about 1.30, I'm gonna direct him to this VOD. So I mean, I just touched the tip of the iceberg. I talked about the most important things. There's more to it, but that's just, it's bad. They should know better about the other things that I'm talking about, but it's just, it's minimal by comparison with the things that I've been talking, you know, because it's like bipolar. The other things, it's like they're bipolar. They don't, you know, on one hand they give you states, on the other hand with that stupid mechanic force you to not state things. The force you to make courthouses in territories where the local autonomy doesn't go below 90%. You know, it's just nonsense after nonsense after fucking nonsense. It's just like it's an idiot in charge of EU4 that just made his first game or just doesn't know what's doing. Whatever, it's the end of it. So if anyone else asks about EU4, I'm gonna point him to these.